California to Pilipinas. Attention live, sama-sama, sabay-sabay. Sa West Coast, nagsimula ang alon. Tech at vision, patuloy ang hamon. Dumating sa Pinas, bagong yugto ng buhay. Web, at AI, tayo'y sabay-sabay.
Amplify, boses natin di mapipigil. Future is here, malinaw at solid. Kali waves, Pinoy pride. Nagkakaisa sa web AI. Amplify, boses natin di mapipigil. Future is here, malinaw at solid. Kali waves, Pinoy pride. Nagkakaisa sa web AI.
Pinangunahan ni Riza, gabay ng team. Filipino spirit, abot ang dream. Sa bawat mesa, boses ay malinaw. Pinoy sa mundo, taas noo, matatag. Pinangunahan ni Riza, gabay ng team. Filipino spirit, abot ang dream. Sa bawat mesa, boses ay malinaw. Pinoy sa mundo, taas noo, matatag.
Amplify, boses natin di mapipigil. Future is here, malinaw at solid. Kali waves, Pinoy pride. Nagkakaisa sa web AI. Amplify, boses natin di mapipigil. Future is here, malinaw at solid. Kali waves, Pinoy pride. Nagkakaisa sa web AI.
Iyan the visionary, kalinawan ay binuksan. Attention live, lakas ng boses pinalakas. Amerika to Pinas, isang tinig. Kinabukas ay atin, tunay at legit. Yeah, Amplify Web, AI, komunidad, California at Pilipinas. Isang lakad, California at Pilipinas. Isang lakad.
Yeah, California to Pilipinas. Attention live, sama-sama, sabay-sabay.
Sa West Coast, nagsimula ang alon. Tech at vision, patuloy ang hamon. Dumating sa Pinas, bagong yugto ng buhay. Web, at AI, tayo'y sabay-sabay.
Amplify, boses natin di mapipigil. Future is here, malinaw at solid. Kali waves, Pinoy pride. Nagkakaisa sa web AI. Amplify, boses natin di mapipigil. Future is here, malinaw at solid. Kali waves, Pinoy pride. Nagkakaisa sa web AI.
Pinangunahan ni Riza, gabay ng team. Filipino spirit, abot ang dream. Sa bawat mesa, boses ay malinaw. Pinoy sa mundo, taas noo, matatag. Pinangunahan ni Riza, gabay ng team. Filipino spirit, abot ang dream. Sa bawat mesa, boses ay malinaw. Pinoy sa mundo, taas noo, matatag.
Amplify, boses natin di mapipigil. Future is here, malinaw at solid. Kali waves, Pinoy pride. Nagkakaisa sa web AI. Amplify, boses natin di mapipigil. Future is here, malinaw at solid. Kali waves, Pinoy pride. Nagkakaisa sa web AI.
Iyan the visionary, kalinawan ay binuksan. Attention live, lakas ng boses pinalakas. Amerika to Pinas, isang tinig. Kinabukas ay atin, tunay at legit. Yeah, Amplify Web, AI, komunidad, California at Pilipinas. Isang lakad, California at Pilipinas. Isang lakad.
Hello, good evening sa inyong lahat. 9 p.m. na po, Friday na ulit. Welcome sa Pixel and Protocol Podcast.
Good evening.
Good evening. Just checking, ang special guest ba natin ay nagpasabi na or alam na niya?
Wala pa ba sa lobby?
Wala pa.
Okay.
Just checking lang. So, time for more chika-chika with our audience. So again, welcome to the Pixel and Protocols Podcast. Kasama po natin ang yours truly, si Prof. Tof, ang inyong content creator for finance and tech. We have Clarky in the middle. Clarky, pakilala ka naman. Nakamute ka ata, Boss Clarky.
Guys,
Yes.
nakamute ako.
Oh,
so, so Clarky here, the designer of Web3 AI and Attention Live. Nice to meet you again.
and of course,
And of course, me. Hello, Juju, your Gen Z. Anyway, I think
what
hindi
Again,
ko yung special guest
I see
natin.
him now. Yeah, I see him now. So yeah, the Muse is now with us, and we have our very special guest today. We'd let him introduce himself to you guys, and yeah, I see you down back there. So we'll be putting you on stage in three, two, and one. Let's just. Hey there, Malachi.
Hello, guys. I'm so glad to be here with you. I love all you guys so much. You're my favorite Filipinos.
Hey, just music to
yay!
my ears. How are you doing, Malachi?
I'm doing so well. I just slept so good, and now I'm getting to start a lovely morning with you guys.
Yes, good morning indeed, and this is the Philippines. So yeah, thank you and welcoming you to the Pixels and Protocols podcast. Just for you to have an idea on what we're gonna talk about. The general theme is how money, culture, and values collide in this tech-driven world. So yeah, so we will start. Before that, why not introduce yourself first to the audience here in the Philippines?
Well, I'm Malakye Utile. I'm Ian's son, and I'm a part of the Beachside Tech Talk show, if that is something that all of you guys know about. It's been an absolute joy, and I love getting to do that. I am also really excited to be here today and just getting to do any really show or experience that I can have with a group of people who know a lot.
Thank you for that, Malachi. And yes, let's start by, of course, can you tell us more about your Beachside Tech Talk and how has it been? I think you've reached 60 episodes or so already. Can you share more about it?
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Well, it's been surprisingly good. I think one of the main things that I've taken away from it is that before we started Beachside Tech Talk, speaking was kind of like I was a little scared to do that, and I didn't really ever want to. But then over time, slowly, I've just seen that I've gotten a little bit more used to it, and now it's gotten to the point where I don't mind hopping on the live stream with dad or going to talk with people, and that's been the main takeaway for me. And also, I've learned a lot by just getting to talk about things that are relevant in today's society. I mean, there really is so much happening in the tech world, and it's amazing that we get the chance to go and talk about everything because it's relevant.
Thank you, Malachi. And yeah, I know tech is very important right now in today's world because it's really just at your bedside. It's in the palm of your hand most of the time, especially us here in the Philippines. And yeah, to
Yeah,
start our discussion for today about community, culture, and local resilience. So let's start with the first question. This is for everyone, and you can share your thoughts. You can jump in or chime in on the discussion from our other speakers. The question is, does technology help change by giving freedom or only show chaos quickly? Maybe I can start for now and you can just choose to. Well, technology, it's a lot. It's just very different depending on which industry we're from. So it could be as simple as storing data. I'll probably start there. So do you remember if for those a bit older or like with the same age as me, um, we did not start with USB drives. There were diskettes, there were CDs or DVDs
The age is
before.
showing.
Yeah, the age is
We
showing.
don't
There's
we
even
don't know that.
discs. Oh yes, you should try
Biscuit.
doing it. So yeah,
Floppy disk.
there were like big, like recording disc. If ever the vinyl disc for music, as big as those, it even has that time. But as it gradually evolved, it became slower, a bit sorry, smaller, and then it became CDs, then it became DVDs, and then these have limited use. And now you don't see disk drives like this in technology in terms of data. You store your pictures, you store your photos. Now became memory cards, SD cards, USB
Hmm.
cards, and now you can just store them on cloud. You don't need the physical one. You now have the internet to store your data, maybe your photos, your videos, etc. Of course, with limitations depending on subscriptions as well. So this technology give you freedom. For me, living through that early time that I have to find a way to keep these items stored in a safe place so that my data is secure or safe. Yeah, but right now this also show chaos. Um, if your data is hacked or compromised, especially if it's private information or private videos, yes, it's
Yeah.
gonna definitely be something like that. So that's just for me. That's just personal data. It could be your family photos, videos, etc. Because right now AI impersonating you is just a matter of putting your photo, your voice into the system, and then for them to craft something that they would want to do with your data. So for me, it depends on the user, not on the technology.
Yeah. I think if I could hop in real quick, the place where my brain immediately goes when I see this is the word chaos. And then I also see technology. For me, the whole idea of crypto is an amazing idea. It obviously is going to happen. And I think if you learn about what crypto really is, you probably have already bought some because you realize that it's just the way the future is going to be. We've always had currencies, whether that's a coin with Caesar's face on it because people value it, or if it's the US dollar because people value it. Currency is things that just people value, whether it's gold or not. And once we can make it online, that just makes things so much easier. But I realized that when that happened, people immediately went to this gambling mentality. They wanted to go and throw their money at places and see if it 100 or 1,000 X's. And I realized that that tends to happen with many different technologies and innovations. Innovation happens, but then humans want to gamble their money into it and see if they can get something. And it's kind of like that graph that I've seen before where when something new happens, it's like this spike and everyone's so happy. Like what happened with NFTs. People were just ecstatic. And then it reaches just this height and then it crashes even farther, all the way down. But then slowly, if it's an actual important idea, like what NFTs and crypto are, I don't even really call them NFTs. They're digital assets, really. Then it slowly comes back up, and then it reaches a stable point where it just keeps growing because it's something that actually matters. And I think that inherent humanness tends to come out in innovation like technologies.
Very great insights, Malachi. Thank you for that. And maybe Clark or Juju. How about you guys?
Mm. Maybe first, I second or third. Um, Maybe I just focus about freedom. Technology gave us freedom. It gives us freedom to connect, learn, or create like never before. For example, um, there's a lot of missing people or missing family members that they can easily find on Facebook. That's one example, but also exposes a problem faster. Fake news spreads in minutes, etc. We discussed that on the past episodes. Also, bad behaviors goes viral overnight. We see a lot of
Hmm.
videos showing the bad side of people.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe just think of it like it's like electricity. It can light up an hospital, but at the same time, it can burn a house. That's one example also. And The answer is both. Technology is like a mirror or an amplifier of people.
Yeah,
You agree with that?
technology has that ability to bring so much positivity yet have such major risks. That's something that especially policymakers and lawmakers really have to think about because you have things that are really positive that people have innovated on. But then you have these major worries like, is electricity going to burn a bunch of hospitals down? Like, you don't know for a fact until it's already been implemented. And so that's one of the main worries that comes with regulation and policymakers. And I think that whole concept is going to really come into play with AI in the close future.
Yeah, I agree. It is definitely a double-edged sword technology. Um, at the end of the day, like what I said in the previous episode, it really depends on the consumers. Um, so yeah, I think we just really have to, use it responsibly and at the same time still having fun.
All right. So all great
Mm,
ideas, and I could really see that technology in general is neutral. It's up to the people who use it most of the time to determine how it's going to add to the chaos or to the freedom on how it's being used. So right now, let's talk a little bit more about social media. Would the world without social media know about these uprisings? If the world right now is a little bit in chaos. So let's talk about on recent events. Would the rest of the world know if there are uprisings like in these countries like Indonesia or Nepal?
I think Julia is the one who would have a good answer on this because you're someone who has a lot of knowledge. And in my mind, I immediately go to the second question of, well, if I was transported into any
Hmm.
time previously in history where technology is not a big thing, would I know about it? I don't really know how to answer that question, but I feel like you might.
Yeah, well, definitely no. The world would not know about any uprisings in these countries like Indonesia or Nepal if there's no social media at all. Um, I remember I referenced the Japanese colonization last episode, which Japanese people doesn't know until now that their people colonized Philippines for how many years. That's because back then there's no any social media, there's no any media outlet that can tell these
Hmm.
kind of stories. But now, as we can see, um we are being knowledged by what's happening in different countries like in Nepal and Indonesia, and even in the recent controversy in the Philippines, the flood control, other nationalities know about it just because of TikTok.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you can see on my FYP, like, oh, I'm some in like a deep hole of flood control and nepo babies in the Philippines, and they are 1,000 miles away. So definitely social media takes place. And um recently the Filipinos are planning some rally. I think that would be on Sunday, and people would not know about it because there's media blackout, right? um
Hmm.
but because we have social media, people have power to spread the word, so now everybody knows about it. And yeah, social media really plays a lot, and I think that's one of the beauty of social medias um we have right now.
How about
I agree
back
with
there
that.
in the States? Sorry, go ahead, Clark.
I agree with Juju's. But probably not as quick. Maybe because of faster technology, the news goes faster also. Before social media, the world depends on newspaper, right? Newspaper, TV, radio, etc. That means only few people can hear, write, or watch the news. But now we have social media. Anyone can be the journalist. If you have a phone, you are also a journalist too. You can film what everything happened in your background or surrounding, and it can easily be super duper viral in the social media. And yeah, I agree with Juju, but I think yes, but it's not quickly.
Yeah. Technology has, in a unique way, broken geographical lines. That didn't come out right, but the whole idea of if I was born 300 years ago, I don't know what's going on in Europe. Why would I? It's a whole ocean away. But
Yeah.
now it's not really an ocean away. I have this piece of glass that can transport me all the way there and show me what's happening. It's so unique what technology has brought. And I wonder if it's still going to feel that same way when we look farther into the future and there's people on Mars or on planets in other solar systems even farther. Like, is that difference because right now I'm able to get information from here to Asia to the Philippines in less than a second. It's not a problem of how fast light can go. Once it's at Mars, it's like 20 minutes. I can't just call somebody. And if you think about it in any other place, it's much, much farther. And so this challenge that's going to come up in the future, of course, it's a very futuristic vision. I wonder how people are going to tackle it. If it's going to become like you will really only communicate by trading, and it's nothing that's really speaking communication, or if it's going to be that innovation happens and the speed of light is broken. I don't know what'll happen, but I'm interested to see what will.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of what will happen, that uh, the Philippines has been similar to most Asian countries having these problems with their governments. But we want to know more about what's happening also back there because, of course, you can just, this is technically a podcast discussing what's happening all over the world. And we want to touch on and warm up on what is happening back there in the States or maybe wherever you are right now. How would you describe the situation back there so that more people here in Asia or at least in the Philippines have
Well,
maybe
what part of
at least
society?
somewhere, what they call, what do you guys want to know, Clark, Juju, in the States?
I think more on the local community, like maybe in the Long Beach or in California, because we definitely have some news in the United States right now.
Yeah.
But I want to know more about like the local government, how like how is it going there right now? Because that is definitely not reaching the Philippines.
Okay, well, there's definitely an important part to talk about here. I imagine you guys probably know, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't, but I imagine you probably know about the Charlie Kirk assassination. Do
Yeah,
you?
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so crazy. One person
Hmm.
dies and people over the entire planet know about it. Like that's just such an interesting statement to be able to say. And I think that despite however people are presented it, because the way that you're told about it can completely affect the way that it affects a group of people. Like if you're told the worst person ever just got deleted, or if you're told a legend is dead, that's a big difference. And I think even just here in the States, that's especially realized with this kind of line being easily divided between people. But it doesn't really have to be that way, I've realized. Like, bottom line, someone would die. Someone got killed, and obviously no one wants that, whether you don't like what they say or not. And I think when these kinds of events happen that become more of a political talking point than they do what they actually are, someone died and now two daughters don't have a dad, that's what actually matters. And it's so easy to get angry about it in different ways. Now, that's like the main big thing that's happened in the States recently. But I realized that it's been like 2 weeks. People already tend to kind of forget about things. Like, that is what really surprises me. with this era of technology, it brings this unique characteristic of things just happen quicker. There's 8 billion people in the world, and there is always something that's happening. Whether it's what you guys were talking about with Nepal or Indonesia, or in the thing you said in the Philippines that I imagine everyone listening knows about. I don't know about it because I'm not online as often as most people, but I find that people tend to forget about things so much quicker because there's just this constant flow of information happening, and it's not as much of a big deal to think about this one thing. So even though Charlie Kirk got assassinated, people have already forgotten about it to a large extent.
Yeah, I mean, community and social media are very intertwined forms of media, and right now, that's more of a local community news for some, and some it just gone blown up probably on a country level. But for those at least discussing about how local media, like not social media, but those in your immediate vicinity, surviving in a digital world, especially right now,
Yeah.
how
Mhm.
would you say it's relevant right now?
Well, I don't know if this is very unique to my dad, Ian, and Risa, but they always have newspapers. I'm so surprised sometimes because I'll I'll walk into somewhere in the house and I just see like a stack of newspapers that's just like the different local news. And I'm like, wow, I'm very surprised. But the thing is, I'll sometimes take a little look at it and I realize that that was something totally relevant to me. I didn't know that that was so important to my actual life now. And what I mean by that is, take this example. If I look at my phone and I look for news, I'm almost definitely going to find something that's not happening locally. There's like a 90 to 95% chance that what I see is going to be national and doesn't matter to me as much, or maybe even global. Like the Charlie Kirk assassination. I don't want someone to die. I don't want a wife to be a widow now, but that's not going to happen. It's not really going to affect my town as much. Maybe it'll affect voting, but it's not really going to affect me. Or if things happen on a national scale, like if a big flood happens in Florida, or what you guys were saying in the Philippines, that's global. That doesn't really affect me as much. Yet, the things that are happening locally, like if there's a big fair that's happening, there's one that happened a few weeks back, that completely affects everything. Because now I have to think about, okay, are the roads going to be closed down? There, my time just got cut. Okay, well, are my friends going to be busy? There, now I can't go see my friends. Or is everybody gonna be going there? Should I be going there? Now it actually matters for me and what I'm going to be doing right now. And then that can affect everything in the future. And so that's one example of how something local actually affects people. And I think even amidst a extremely digital society, and that is even more potent in a place like the Philippines, where I've been told that almost everybody spends an extremely large portion of time using a cell phone. Even in those kind of places, I think local media isn't something that is dead. I wouldn't ever think it will be because it's what actually matters to most people. I think it's easy to get sucked into a loop that is kind of turning into an echo chamber where these big two, or even if it's more than that, kind of political ideologies try and keep you angry by telling you things that will make you angry, which
Oh
is so
yes.
weird, but it's super true. That whole concept, I think, is just too unsustainable. And once anybody gets a taste of what it's like to not be angry all the time, they just weren't really going to go back. And once you realize that local news is actually important to you and who you vote for in your mayor, that's much more important to you than really the national race because you actually have much more of a say for your mayor and they are going to affect your day-to-day life a lot more. I think that's going to be a cultural change that will be very beneficial.
Yeah. I totally agree with Malachi. I think one nature of a man is that they don't really care unless they think it will affect themselves.
Mm,
Uh, like what Malachi just said, the international news, it would not directly affect him. That's what he thinks, because based on his knowledge, I don't really think that it will affect me. And I remember I did a research back in my high school, and I interviewed, like normal people around the community and asked some political questions. And one worker said that I don't really care about politics right now because I'm busy. I'm busy working for myself. I'm busy surviving life. Why would I care on that one? Because basically, she thinks, or she thought that time that it won't really affect her. But I
it
think,
definitely affects you.
yeah, it definitely affects you, right? That is the concept. Everything affects you. Everything is political, like what we said, on when I started studying for my bachelor. That is the first line that my professor said: everything is political. From the day you were born, it is political. So,
Hmm.
but not everyone thinks that way, because definitely, if it doesn't directly affects me, i don't I don't really care. And I think that's where social media plays their part right now. you know um for example, this Charlie Kirk issue. Let's go back to this issue. um I have barely knowledge who is he, but then
Yeah,
when
I
I
didn't really
read
before either.
yeah, you do. Yeah. um Considering that you're already living in the same country. But
Yeah,
when I read the news about him, and then when the news popped up, I was shocked that most of the people surrounding me knows him and actually is an avid listener of him. So, oh, okay, so that made me aware of who is he and why does these news affects me. So I think that's where the technology, the evolution of technology affected our perception of what's happening around our place or around our environment. So yeah.
yeah.
Anything to add, Clark?
I think they already talked everything. Let's go with the second topic.
All right. So as we continue, because Charlie Kirk has been active on Faith, and has been a major figure on those things. So let's try to jump into faith and community as well. So what do you think is the role of technology with these things happening right now, specifically through faith and the values right now with social media?
Well, I think my brain immediately goes to the fact that when technology gets such a large grip over people, it tends to kind of alienate them from other people. There's plenty of people online who said something like, it's probably good that he's dead. And whether that's them actually saying it or it's a bot, it doesn't matter. It's just that it shows that people can think that. Or if it's someone saying, now we have to start a revolution, it's probably not a good idea either. Revolutions are usually very bloody and suck for everyone a part of them. And those are just two very extreme examples. Now, whether it's true or not isn't the part that matters. What matters is that people tend to feel like they can just say whatever they want online because the person isn't standing right next to you. If the person who said they want Charlie Kirk to die was standing right here, I don't think they would be wanting to say that. They would not feel very comfortable saying something so extreme. And that's one of the main things that social media has brought. It brings this weird feeling of, oh, I can say whatever I want. And I think that ties into faith because people kind of feel like they can say whatever they want in a way that might hurt other people. And I feel like that's the more extreme way that it tends to lean. I don't know if it's just that that's the thing that I see most times, or if it's that is what is inherently relevant. But when it comes into terms with faith, people can share their faith online. Pastors don't have to talk to only the audience that is in their church with them. Now they can record things and it can be sent to more people. That's a base way that technology has obviously brought people better um, access to something, which is very important. But it's also brought an ability for people to discriminate in weird ways. Like the whole idea of the Crusades that happened, where people are like, that's our holy land. We're going to go and kill people for it because God told us to. It's like, what? I thought that one of the core principles of this theology was that you don't murder. And I think that that idea of kind of justifying things has become very prevalent in the whole realm of social media and just the digital society as a whole. People feel very justified to say whatever they want. And whether that's an extremely positive thing or if it's an extremely negative thing, people don't have that filter as much as we have throughout past society.
Yep, I totally agree. In this kind of evolution where, like what Malachi said, that technology now helps, the religion or the churches, spread the word, or uh they do like streaming now. They have social media, they have Instagrams. All churches have Instagrams now, which is very cool. um right, whenever I scroll to my FYP and whenever I get mad or something, like I have some rage, and I just go to Instagram instead of getting some cute Pinterest stuff. I get church reels, holy
I
reels.
thought
So
you get God quotes or something. God is watching you when you scroll.
God is watching you every scroll. So that is definitely an example of how technology helps faith. But at the same time, I would like to emphasize how technology helps discover or help people what is their, if they really have a religion. Maybe
Hmm.
what I want to say is that it really helped to focus on discovering their faith, especially when during pandemic, a lot of people um, found out about that. Oh, okay, it's okay to be agnostic, it's okay to be atheist, especially here in the Philippines, because it's a religious country, it's a Catholic country. Everyone was actually what do you call this, expected to have a religion, but during the pandemic, oh, okay, so now we have more time to scroll in the new scroll on our phone and check that, oh, okay, so some people doesn't believe in God, and that's fine. And some people doesn't believe in religion, but still believe in God, and that's totally fine as well. Um, Also, I've been seeing some news lately that definitely like gave me some perception or knowledge about the Palestine and the Israel war, and how um like they said that if Jesus is still alive right now, do you think um, he will be with Palestine or he will be with Israel? Because that's the promised land, right? For the religious people out
I
there.
don't think
That
Jesus would be with either.
Yeah, well, it is actually a discussion, a discussion all over Instagram or over the forums. So it's something that I would say that technology can divide people, but at the same time unite people all around the world, depending on their faith and values. And yeah, how about you guys?
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, but I watch a YouTube about AI discussing about different faith. So basically, they are discussing about Muslim faith, about Christian faith, about Jews faith, and the AI is the one who makes the argument. And that's curious me because AI has a lot of knowledge about it because all of the knowledge of those religion is feed already on that AI. And if you have time, you can watch it, and it's quite interesting to watch, guys. And also, the shift is exciting but quite scary. You know why? Because our generation now is super connected, but also distracted, anxious, and often without moral compass. You know that. And also, AI can teach skills, but not wisdom. You agree with that? Because there's a lot of people asking questions on ChatGPT about this, about that, and they didn't know that ChatGPT only responds on your questions, but it's not the real answers. It's that right? Did you try that one? That asking questions on
Yeah,
ChatGPT, but it's quite biased. It's biased on
yeah,
your question.
Hmm.
and and if you're not that smart enough, you will not see the mistakes of Chat GPT or Gemini or
Yeah.
whatever AI we have there. That's why I'm always telling mom that don't be too Chat GPT dependent. That's the problem with, I think, millennials now, like the older millennial level, because remember back then they were like, that technology that will make you bad, that will make you blah blah blah, but that now that they discovered Chat GPT, which is just one question away, one press away, their life became too Chat GPT dependent. And just like what Clark said, they don't know that Chat GPT only tells you what has been fed to them. So if some people fed them like wrong information, the Chat GPT will definitely give you wrong information too. So I think, yeah, that's I actually really don't know how we or how someone will fix that, system or thinking. How about you, Prof?
Well, for faith, it's a matter for me that you pick your resources properly because tech is made by humans, as it is with the books that was passed down through history. We kind of have to push ourselves to have critical thinking and be choosing of which resources we do. Yes, it's easily accessible, but that doesn't always mean it's all about the truth, especially for these things in faith and education, because some of these stories, may it be history, can be rewritten or a personal view of a certain incident. So maybe at this point in time, we still believe the earth is round. Maybe sometime in the future, it's going to change. So some things can change if information is just readily accepted. Critical thinking is very much essential on these things. And, as faith is being passed down, there's also faith in entrepreneurship or faith driven entrepreneurship. What are your thoughts in combining faith and business? And as you've mentioned, there's AI already in the mix. Is there something that AI adds into this faith driven businesses or entrepreneurs? Or if anyone much more inclined to explain what faith driven entrepreneurship means, maybe. Malachi, or have you heard of
Well,
this term?
if I could, yes, I have heard of the term. I think right now my thought process is going to how if you look in the past, say you're someone who lives in the Philippines, but it's before mass colonization occurs. Religion isn't something that might matter to you as much, or you just don't really know about what's going on. If I was born 300 years ago, I probably wouldn't even know what Islam is. That's huge. I mean, you could say that divinely I will be told, but how would I? And that's a fair question to ask. And so I think that in plenty of cultures, religion becomes something that, like you guys are saying, it has to be. You have to be religious. Like, what do you mean? But here, it's completely different. Here in California, being religious is kind of weird. Like, you're kind of weird if you're religious. And that's a completely different culture than in the Philippines. And whether it's changing or not, it just shows that people can easily make religion a cultural thing where it's not their own. It's not they don't actually care about what it is. It's just that they do it because their family goes to church or because everyone else says God, God, God. But when they actually think about it, it's like, I don't really know. And that's okay. But I think that technology brings this ability to actually learn about what these things are. Like with the AI videos. Now, you can go onto the internet and actually get diverse perspectives because the AIs will take different perspectives and they'll talk about different ideas. And that's a really, really big advantage. Now you don't have to go and find someone who's smart in that certain topic to talk about it. You can just tell AI, become Albert Einstein, and he'll talk to you like him. Like that's huge. The fact that we can do that now. It's to the point where you don't need to talk to a direct person and get the time to do that to be able to learn about something. And that's a really big advantage and it plays a lot into faith.
Go, Clark. I
Mm.
think you've watched some videos as well, so maybe what have you heard about it?
What's the question again? Faith-driven entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
something to that extent.
So I have a question to you guys. Um, is business is about profit or it's about a deeper purpose?
Hmm. I sorry to jump in again, but I was having this thought yesterday about how it's so significant that there's plenty of like nonprofits where you have a person who really wants to do something and they're passionate about it. So, like, have you guys seen the Ikigai, the Japanese like four circles to find out what's your purpose in life or what you like
Mm,
your need to do? And it's,
yes.
does the world need it? Am I passionate about it? And do I have the skill for it? And can I make money? Now, nonprofit leaders have dialed in, does the world need it and do I have a passion? But they do not make money from it. They require completely off donations in some cases. And that's one of the main problems I think with having these major and awesome visions is that you have something that really matters, but people just aren't able to sustain it because they don't have a way to make money from it. And so I think that's one of the main problems that once we can figure out how a nonprofit or group that just has something the world needs and they have passion for it, once we figure out how to create some kind of value we can give to others so that we can get money from it, then it makes it so those things can really happen rapidly.
I agree. I agree with that. You agree with that, guys?
It's a hard question for me, but definitely it's hard to mix these two together because faith is usually you don't ask for money, but if it's entrepreneurship on that side, it's usually should be in a way. I don't term it regulated. It's kind of iffy to term it that, but for me,
Well, it
it's just,
definitely involves money at the end
it
of the day.
does involve money at the end of the day. It's
At the
like
end,
government, but it's not mandatory. Something like
yeah,
that.
it really depends already on how this entrepreneur or how this business or organization will make it work. But yeah, this faith driven entrepreneurs exist, and um, it it's now, well, we'll just have to rely on good faith that they use their profit or their money for for their faith and not for anything else. Um, yeah, like what Prof said, it's this two, um, what they call this topic, or these two ideas are hard to combine, and it's definitely a lot of discussion. There will be definitely a lot of discussion, and most people would not want to dive into this kind of discussion because it affects their faith, and at the same time, um, it shows the real them. It shows their real personality.
I like to add that with Juju said, um, business sometimes it's not about the religion itself, but it's more like how faith guide the values and integrity of your business. For example, I created a company, a tech company, but our mission is not to create a lot of revenue, but to create more work, more work that compensate fairly, serve customers honestly, and uplift the community. And it's not about that. It's all about religion or faith, but it's more of guiding principle of your company. And that's on my that's my opinion about it.
Yeah, I guess we've dabbled to enough already on how it is. So let's go into something that is currently happening worldwide as well. Since we're
Ah,
touching into business, what do you guys think about the subscription economy and consumer autonomy? These are
Mm,
two terms we kind of, for the subscription, some of us mostly complain about it because it used to be just one-time payments in the past, and now it's subscription month after month. And some things to consider on those things. What do you generally think about these technological enhancements that has happened?
is subscription economy is about like subscription of Netflix,
You don't own
Canva.
anything, but you just pay for the service. Generally, that, like Netflix, yes.
Mm,
It's, you used to just buy a DVD, watch it at home, or buy the
you can
movie.
watch it.
Right
You
now,
can
we
watch it
just rent it.
unlimited.
Yeah, but those kind of things. So it's a huge shift for those a bit younger. I'm not sure if you experienced that, that you can buy most stuff, or it's a thing. It was a thing back then, way back 20 years ago or
Video
more.
rentals were also a thing.
Yeah.
Movie rentals, yeah. Um,
So
yeah, I think for me, I'm on more of a consumer of the subscriptions. Well, subscription really started way before. Still, the technology was not yet evolving that time. Just like newspaper subscriptions. Um, what else? Magazine subscriptions. Uh, so now I really don't have that much input about it because I'm just a consumer. I'm just a victim at the end of the day because, like what Toph said, most of the things that we use now are subscriptions. Um, like for example, Google. What else? Netflix. I don't really use Netflix nowadays. Because subscriptions are expensive. It
yeah.
is very expensive. So what I like personally, I limit myself using subscriptions that will just really help me um, improve my life. So I don't really use it for entertainment. But I agree with, I would say that some businesses really take advantage of this subscription thing. For example, in research, there's this famous website, JSTOR. It's a research website where most of the readings are or studies are there. They used to be free, but now they are now under subscription, and you can only access it. You can only access some studies for a few pages. I also there are a lot of websites like that, and now people are starting to gatekeep websites free websites so that it will not turn into subscription, because once it turns into subscription it will be definitely expensive. And so yeah, how about you guys? What do you want to say with subscription? Do you think our life makes it easier? It definitely makes our life easier, but do you think it's still what do you call this, affordable, or something that justifiable with the rate?
Well, it's this idea of short term versus long term. It's completely inside of Netflix favor to make it a subscription. Because imagine if you're looking at yourself 5 years ago and now you're an avid Netflix user. You've probably spent such an absurd amount of money on Netflix subscriptions that it's like you don't even want to think about how much it is now. And whether that has value to you or not because you spent a lot of time on it, that's not even really what matters. It's just that you spent so much money. You probably would be better off if you just bought each movie or show. And that's a really interesting thing to think about. And so it brings this question of, do we want a subscription economy? We are the consumers, and we are the ones who choose whether we're going to let this happen or not. And so I think that's the important question that we need to ask ourselves. Is this something we sustainably want, to care more about short term than long term? Or are we going to make a change over something? Because right now, it's highly favored in short term. Yeah, you just have to spend $10 or $20 a month and you can have this instead of spending 40 to buy it. Sure, that's a lot less money, but if I want to watch that show for 3 months, then now I'm spending way more money. And so that's just one example of how this short term versus long term ideology has shifted in the consumer economy.
Mm.
Totally agree. And even for me, it's hard to imagine that games, you just buy them one time before, because I'm more of a gamer during my younger days. And now I have to pay like a monthly, I wouldn't say subscription, but for you to get some certain perks just to get ahead of the curve, for
Yeah.
you to get stronger or get access to certain items. It still is something debatable. And if we are able to, like, shift that type of consumer mindset, that you just pay for something once or you don't pay at all, that kind of thing. But of
Mhm.
course, there's that, how do these companies evolve over time, or how are they bet to improve their service, or even pay the people working for them, or expand their company. But of course, it's a different story when it's just how they are shaping us to make it normal to just pay for these things that should be just a one-time payment. Just
I
how
agree.
about you, Clark, especially for your art and for your artist
Mm.
Yeah.
materials as well.
Imagine if you had to pay a monthly subscription to keep your
Oh
like
yes,
art
Adobe
on your wall.
Okay.
It's like, oh no, that painting over there, you have to give us $3 a month.
Oh yeah,
That's a royalty. Speaking of Adobe, uh, that's that's the reason I was frustrated with Adobe. I think it's way back few years ago that I want to cancel a subscription with Adobe, but it's kind of super duper hard. There's a loop of, you want to
Yeah, it's
cancel this,
difficult to
you
cancel.
want to cancel this and that, but you need to pay for 1 year if you cancel it. What? And there's a loop of cancellations that, and it makes you frustrated that you don't want to cancel at all. And that's a lot of people. That's why a lot of people, and especially designers, is frustrated with Adobe because of that. Because it's hard to cancel, and if you cancel, they penalize you. About, you're going to pay 50% of the whole year, even though you just use it for one
just
month.
like internet subscriptions. It's 2 years, but
Sheesh.
you don't need it. You pay a fee.
And here's the thing, you cannot access your design without a subscription with Adobe. For example, I created a design with Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop or
Oh,
whatever design software that they are giving me. And if I want to use that and my subscription is expired, I cannot open the file. That's the thing.
I guess we could all agree subscription is dooming us, not for the better but for the worse. And it's a technological change that is probably should be regulated at some point. Not it
Well,
shouldn't be always.
how can we practically solve this problem?
Right now, I don't have a solution. Maybe you have some bright ideas because I'm also thinking about it.
Well, it's definitely not on us, these regulating the whole subscription thing. Um, it does, we don't have a direct access to change it or to fix it. But what I think what we can do is that voice really matters, Um, Speaking something about these kind of things would really awaken these companies that uses subscription. I believe recently Spotify, even though it's not a direct about subscription, but they said that, or like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, they announced that they will now have um, messages, direct DM or direct messages at their app. But people went vocal about how will this not affect, or how will this not help their streaming service, or their streaming experience at all. So now Spotify didn't go or didn't proceed with that one. So I think it's not really on us how to resolve this or how to regulate these subscriptions, because at the end of the day, these companies are all over the world. It's not just based on the US or based in the Philippines, and everyone uses it. So I think what we can contribute is that we can be vocal about it, tell people more about it. And yeah, that's how we can help in fixing these kind of issues. Or maybe, if you can send them a message, or in the forums where these websites have, you can type your issues there or your thoughts about it, and hopefully they will listen.
I believe companies will have to adapt because consumers are getting tired of feeling locked in. And I think the future is going to be more of a flexible type. Imagine this, that you can pause your Netflix in the future because you are busy with work or school. You can pause it for a 1 week, like something like that. Or
I'd
for
like
Adobe
that.
Stop, for Adobe Stop, you just maybe there you can subscribe in one app only, because right now if you subscribe with Adobe, it's a bundle. It's a bundle of things that you don't need. For example, you're just an artist. You just need Photoshop and Illustrator, but they will bundle it with video editing software, website design software that you don't need. So instead of bundling it, maybe they will just give us a flexible type of subscription where we can pick only one app or pause the app if we're not going to use it.
Those groups, definitely, it's in their favor to keep subscriptions of
Oh
that sort
yes.
because they're making more money. It's obviously on purpose to make it so that you are paying for much more than you need, because then they can say, "Well, look, the value's here. You're getting this, and this." It's like, dude, I only use this one thing. Well, that's not in our deal, and so it's obviously in their favor to make it so that it's that way. But
Yeah.
I think that as consumers, we have the ability to cause a reform and actually change things. But it's not fair to put the difficulty onto the consumers. Like, here's an example: people want organic food. Here in California, in the past, that was something that consumers made happen. Consumers just stopped buying food that wasn't organic. And obviously, that can happen. If we really wanted to, we all could completely stop buying things that have sugar in it, and now everything will be healthier. but that's really difficult to practically do because now you're putting a business's problem onto consumers, and now everybody has to deal with it instead of them lowering their profit margin by this much. And so, if we can find practical solutions to solving this problem or make it so that these big companies will genuinely listen to us, that is something that would obviously be very in our favor.
I think
Good.
one thing that they are going to listen to us is one, if they have a lot of competitors, because right now Adobe is monopolizing the design industry. So
Yeah.
if there's a startup that emerging, they will acquire it. They will just acquire it, so that they can monopolize the market. But right now, there's a lot of editing software that a
Yeah, I
consumer
mean,
can
and now AI
use.
is coming, and now you
Yeah.
can get AI
Yeah,
software, and it can help you design or make websites in, I would
just
think,
a
way
prompt.
faster than something on Adobe.
That's
Yeah,
where
I
the
agree with
saying
that.
goes. If you can't
If you
beat
know
them,
how
buy
to
them.
write, then now you can make anything.
And yeah, this has been a really great conversation with everyone here right now. So we're almost out of time. So we still have a few more minutes just to close everything off. And we just want to make this a pathway for you to just share something you would want, if they want you to follow you on social media, or if there's a call to action, you want a message for all our viewers tonight or in the morning for you guys back there, Malachi. So yeah, this is your time to have a message, short message. Who wants to go first? Is there anyone who wants to go first?
I think our
Clark?
special guest,
Yes. Oh,
Malachi.
okay, Malachi.
If I gave a call to action, I want to say that we talked about the consumer idea a lot here, and I mentioned just earlier about how it's it shouldn't be our problem to take on the mess ups of these big companies. And so I think the better way to do it is if you have something that you don't like the way they operate, look for an alternative. Just try and put a little bit of research into finding something. Because in today's society, when tech is happening so fast, there's plenty of ways that things just happen better. Now you can get something on Amazon if you don't want to have to go to Costco or to whatever places you guys have in the Philippines to get something. And there you can probably find something that's a lot better. If you don't like Amazon, you can probably find it on their own personal website. And those are just some examples of how, although putting the difficulty onto the consumers is not the way it should be, there can be ways that you can kind of get around it, especially since there's something like AI now that lets us be able to get around it. Like with Adobe software, where you don't have to use it, it's really useful. But now you have these other tiny subscriptions for some kind of AI studio thing that lets you be able to do that same concept, but in a much easier way.
Thank you, Malachi. Where can our audience find you, or if you have specific socials at this time? Do you have anything to share about that as well? Where can they find
Well,
you?
I'm at Malakye Utile on X mainly, and I think that if you wanted to find out what I'm doing, just follow Ian Utile because we're doing Beachside Tech Talk every day, and that's the joy of my day most of
Okay, Clark. Any closing thoughts? Then Juju. Then me for the last.
Guys, see you next week. This is super exciting. Actually, I want to extend it about 10:30, but unfortunately, we ran out of time. So see you in the next episode.
Juju.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening today. And thank you so much, Malachi. I know it's super early there. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, see you guys on next week. I just want you guys to be grounded, do research all the time and um, enjoy life.
And as everyone said, just to close off this short podcast, thank you everyone for tuning in Always, we discuss a lot of things. Always remember that each information that you consume, always have critical thinking to back it up, not just consume it
Yeah.
because we're overflooded with information right now. Filter it
Yeah.
and use critical thinking to best judge if it's the truth or not. And again, we're closing the Pixels and Protocols podcast for tonight. Catch Malakye Utile in the Beachside Tech Talk podcast and know more about us here at the Pixel and Protocol podcast by following Web3 AI at Amplify Web3 AI across all across all channels.
Web3 AI.
Uh, I just want to ask
Go ahead.
Malachi if he is willing, because we have a great conversation with him, and I want to host him again in the future if
Yeah,
he
I
is
love it.
available.
I don't mind getting up early. It's not a
Oh,
problem for
There
me.
we go. There we go.
Roger, go. Appreciate, man.
It's a fantastic way to start the day. And now the sun has come. If I can show you guys a little backstage.
Oh, you
And we
sure?
got
Give
the
us the
beautiful
sights
sun outside. Oh, the blur is too aggressive. I'm sorry. Well, as you
on
can
the
see,
net.
it's light, and that's lovely.
Yeah.
So, a great day to start the day. I love the conversation. You guys are all very intelligent, and you have good topics and questions. I think this whole entire Pixels and Protocol setup looks just phenomenal. It's so good looking. So just really good job with that. And you guys just are very talented. You're all extremely smart people, and I'm lucky to get to do this with you. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank
And
you,
yeah,
Malakye.
this is us saying good night and morning back there in the US. Bye for now. See you on Friday, 9 p.m. again next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye, guys. Bye bye, Malachi.
I-cancel mo pagka-download mo ng sa Perfect City.